Hi there everybody and welcome back to the Turn Cycling YouTube channel. Now, one of the questions I get asked quite a bit is, am I confident using Di2 when I'm doing an ultra race? Are you not worried if it breaks, you run out of battery, snap or break a cable, something like that? Now, I'm an absolute firm believer that Di2 is the way forward. For anyone who's been following this channel or following my ultra races knows that I'm just a big fan of Shimano's electronic shifting. That being said, it's not completely infallible. So today what I'm going to do is talk through a particular hack that you can use to fix this on the roadside if something goes wrong, or particularly if you snap or break one of the electric shifting cables whilst you're out on a race. Could be an ultra race, could be a long ride, whatever. Now, the most likely thing to go wrong when you're using Di2 on a long race is you leave it leant against a wall and you run out of battery. Now, I always carry a Di2 charging block with me. It doesn't take up much space and it doesn't weigh very much. And the good thing is you can recharge on the move. So plug the charging pack into a power bank or into the USB output from, if you've got that, from a dynamo. Plug it straight into your junction box for Di2 and it will charge as you're riding. You can change gears and we're all good. So that's that one dealt with. Now, actually, the Di2 batteries last quite a long time. When I was on the recent 2 Volcanoes sprint race, I started with a fully charged battery and I still had, I think, 50% left at the end of it. And that was 87 hours of racing. And in that time, probably 62 hours on the bike. So no problems there with battery life. Now, the big question is, what happens if you snap a cable? Because I think this is the second most likely thing to go wrong. And outside of losing battery and snipping a cable, really not much else is likely to go wrong. Not to say it won't, as I've demonstrated previously by burning out servos, but the way around that is just to set it to only shift 1 or 2 at a time if you hold the button down. You can go into settings, set the multi-shift option and set it to just shift 1 or 2, then you avoid all the issues I had on TCR number 7 with burning out the servo. So the most likely thing you're going to do outside of run the battery down is to snip a cable, whether you catch the rear derailleur one, riding past something, you might rip it out, break something, or another thing might happen is you might put the seat post back in, adjust the seat post, and that can pinch the wire and snip it off. And that's exactly what happened to a friend of mine just the other day. I've got her bike here, nice new Bowman set up with Ultegra Di2, beautiful setup. Only somebody got a little bit aggressive with putting the battery or putting the seat post back in. So normally battery sits in the seat post, and I pulled it out to try and figure out what was going on, and putting it in and out and pressing the buttons, and nothing was happening until I realised that the cable had been snipped off, which is why it wasn't working. However, this is where the hack comes in. Now, you may not know this, but Di2 is actually built upon the design principles or the design of something called Canbus. Now, this was developed for the automotive industry. It was used on my BMW motorbike. Now, the thing about Canbus is you can plug any item, any endpoint in to any point on the system, and it will send and receive both data and power through the cables. Doesn't need to be installed in any particular location. So that brings us up to what we can do to fix this one. Now, at the time, my friend wanted to get on the bike, do a workout, and we needed to get the battery working. Doing a Zwift workout, need to change gears to ride up and down those hills. So here's the hack. If you happen to have a spare cable with you, which, small cable, take a long one, maybe take 2 in a spare junction box. But if you've got a small cable with you, then you can patch anything in to any other point. So let's take the battery. What we did was we took the battery out of the seat post, put the seat post back in, installed one long cable, and then what we were able to do is we were able to plug the cable end into the spare junction box on the right hand shifter. Could have been the spare port on the left hand shifter. There's a couple of spare ports available, and you can plug it into anything. So what you can now see is that the battery has been connected via spare Di2 cable into the spare junction port on the right hand shifter, and we now have power to the whole of the Di2 setup. And that's the really key thing about Canbus, is that you can plug anything in anywhere. So you can imagine that let's say it's not the battery cable that snapped, but let's say it was the rear derailleur cable that snapped. If you were to take a long enough one of these, it's very simple to just plug a new cable into the rear and then patch it in up in the same place, either some electrician's tape or a few zip ties to keep the cable out of the way, and you're back up and running. Even in, let's say, the worst case scenario, that when you're fitting your Di2 system, the cable around the bottom bracket got pinched, you could still bypass all of that just with a couple of cables around the outside and an extra junction box. So, the reality is, this is as fixable in the field as normal cables. So, yeah, bear that in mind next time you're racing. Maybe throw in a few extra cables and a junction box, and then you can fix things in the field, be up and running, and on your way to having a really good race. Right, I hope this Di2 hack was useful and interesting for you all. Have you had to mend Di2 in the field? Leave a comment below. Would you trust Di2 on an ultra race? I know I would. And if you enjoy these videos, then please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, because that will help the channel and help encourage me to do more videos like this. Is there a hack that you want to see me do next? Again, comment below. Or is there something you'd be worried about? And I'll see if I can figure one out. Right, thank you everybody, and speak to you soon. Bye.